All right. Welcome to another edition of Shabbat Lounge. This is Matt.
And Jake here.
Almost got stuck on that, Jake.
Well, we don't say it enough.
So that's right. We don't say it enough. Well, today we're going to come at you just kind of briefly, and we're going to talk about the thought of Acts proving that they followed Torah, that they followed the law.
Right.
And so many people have taught that Acts is antinomian and that Paul himself is antinomian. And we're going to take a look at some of these scriptures. So, Jake, in chapter 12, there's a mention of what here?
So this is, and those were the days of unleavened bread. So they're keep him intending after Passover. So they're intending to keep Passover and unleavened bread, and they're marking time with the feast days.
So that is
what you can't do if you don't know when the feast days are.
And then as you go through, starting about here, on every page you see the word Sabbath.
Right.
They're meeting in synagogues. They're going, preaching. They're Sabbath, synagogue. So
right.
all the way.
And the context is meeting on the Sabbath and discussing Scripture on the Sabbath and discussing in the synagogues on the Sabbath.
And then in 5:21, don't you think the context of this, he's basically telling them, abstain. This is the Council of Jerusalem.
15:21.
15:21. He's talking about abstaining from there's some food rules, there's some things about sex, and then he's saying, hey, they're going to meet on the Sabbath day, and they're going to hear what?
The Word. They're going to hear the Word, which is the Torah.
Remember,
right?
This New Testament did not exist at the time. So, and then another interesting phrase is mentioned in here when Paul talks about being someplace in 1811. He talks about being in Corinth for like a year and a half.
Right.
So, and it says he taught. So, Jake, what did he teach while he was there that year? It
says teaching the word of Elohim among them. So, again, he's teaching the word of Elohim. And so that's what they would have at the time is the Old Testament. And then just before that, though, you have them discussing the Bereans, right? Be a Berean. Okay, what are you testing what they're teaching to? You have to test it to something. And they had the Old Testament they would go to, the Torah and the prophets. They would go check what Paul's saying and say, oh, he's right about that.
Yeah.
So it would be easy if he was teaching against the law to say, oh, well, it says this here in the law, so he's teaching against that. It would be easy for them to disregard. And
one more thing about it, Jake, don't you think that if Paul was truly antinomian, that one, and going against it hard, that the Jewish folks in those synagogues, they would not have ever even let him set foot in there if he was that against the law. Right. Yeah, I think you have a good point there. I think they wouldn't have allowed a non-law keeper to come in and start teaching other people. Yeah, I just, argue that one for me. How did that work? So I just don't think that's a good argument. You can't say, well, Paul was against the law, and so therefore he went to all the synagogues and the Jews let him in and he talked to them. That just doesn't make sense. Right. And if you're going to say Paul's against the law, you're making the same case the Pharisees made against him. Yeah. They claimed he was against the law, and he claimed he was not. So all we can do is ask you to check it out, research it. There's a lot of tools out there, the Blue Letter Bible. In fact, you could just Google. I bet if you Googled how many times is Sabbath used in Acts, you would find an answer. So the Bible that we used on this is the Restoration Study Bible, which is a great book. It looks like this. So it's a good Bible. Anyway, so we just wanted to share that with you. And Jake, clearly Paul was Nomian for the law. There you go. Check it out. See if it's right. Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.